Welcome to Torrid Souls. I'm Tori.
And I'm Soul.
We're a same-sex female couple, and we're both bisexual.
Yes, how awesome is that?
So maybe we're not the norm in the lifestyle, and maybe our experiences are unique. Or are they?
We're a couple, very much in love.
And like you, we like to spice it up sometimes too. So join us and let our smexy lifestyle conversations open your minds
And your legs.
just a wee bit wider.
Welcome to episode 31.
We know what you're back for. Part 2. Naughtier New Orleans Part 2. And we promised you more sexy stories, and this one is definitely that. We have the +1 room that we ventured into for the first time at Naughtier New Orleans 2019. And this episode actually picks up where the last one left off because the recording was just so long, we had to split it in two. So if you haven't yet heard episode 30, pause and head on back there. Listen to that one first. That'll help you to build up to this grand finale, the final night.
So we've been doing some stuff.
Yeah, we've been having a little bit of fun. We've been exploring, starting to get ready for the idea that we might do social fun things. And we figured, hey, why don't we just have our parties at home?
Well, we got the kids out of the house and we have a few days to ourselves and we're like, we need to practice.
Yes.
We need to practice. We have not had much experience in the last year of being clothing optional, of doing shots, of dancing.
And of
Doing
vape.
Oh, I was going to say the wild thing.
Well, there's that too. Yes, we'll go with that. But we also wanted to experiment with vaping.
Yeah, because
we've not
that's
done
what
that before.
Got us into the +1 room.
Yeah, actually, it's true. That's why we ordered some, didn't we?
Yeah, because that experience was magically helpful. And you said, hey, we need to get that for you because all your brain chatter is gone and you're just focused on, fuck a man, get some money.
We didn't get some money. We spent some money. But
I know, but
yeah.
I was singing that while the guy was doing me.
I know, because the song came on the loudspeaker or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it was
you'll
funny.
hear later what that was all about.
So yeah, we found a new place to order our cannabis online because of the fact that the other place was not having much available. So we have a new link. If somebody is interested in seeing where we've been ordering the different vape oils and different
Pens.
products from, you can go torridsouls.com/vape, VAPE. We made it easy for you to find. They deliver anywhere in Canada, or they have an American affiliation that delivers to any of the states that have legalized it. Anyway, so what was our experience like last night? We went ahead and tried a vape called Super Lemon Haze. I did lots of research on all the different strains of marijuana and how they affect, and I picked 3 specific ones. And then this one we tried last night, which is supposed to be uplifting. Actually, I'll read the description of what it is. We're going to sound like Sex Uninterrupted's The Smoke Show. Where he always read what the different strain was all about. So this strain says that it has a sativa indica ratio of 80-20. It is heady, peppy, cerebral effects, arousal, creativity, energy, euphoria, and intense happiness. These make for ideal tools in treating depression, fatigue, anxiety, nausea, and chronic pain.
And people who are practicing to be proper swingers.
Well, it did have a lot of effects, didn't it? It was pretty awesome.
Arousal. Oh my God.
Yes, it worked well for us.
Our dance floor, which is our own personal dance floor, became quite the sex show for ourselves.
Well, we set up the lights. We made the mood. We put a disco light on and we put our glowy lights and we had the music going over our speakers. We played awesome music for us to dance to, and we were dancing.
We have a playlist on Spotify.
Yeah.
If you want to listen to it, it's our Saturday night sexy dance.
And I think we have a
playlist.
link to that as well because we make it easy for everybody. torridsouls.com/dance party, and that'll take you straight to our Spotify playlist. But anyway, we had that playing and we're dancing and touching and
focused on touching.
Wow.
And I described this to you. We had a conversation earlier this morning and I said it felt like I took portrait mode blurred out all the edges, and I was just focused on you and me and what I was feeling and what I was doing. And I could hear the music in a totally different way. It was like I could hear the beat of the music. It was very tribal, even though the song wasn't necessarily so.
You said the rhythm stood out for you of the music, not so much the lyrics or the song like it usually does, but it was the beat and the rhythm of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing to watch because you were so in your body. Anything that happened to you, you were completely receiving it. It was phenomenal to watch. I just loved it because you were making sounds. You were not always the most vocal in the beginning. I'm the most vocal one in the beginning. But you are not always the more vocal, and yet you were. You accepted my touch. You accepted everything I offered, and you moved your body and appreciated it and felt it. And wow, that was just pretty awesome. And then you reciprocated too.
Yeah, let's talk about those screams with you said your throat's a little sore today because...
Yeah, I have no idea what it was. I was literally laying back as you were going down on me and screaming because it felt so good. And yet I don't know, this other part of my brain is going, do you really need to be carrying on like that? Like, does it really feel that good? And then the part of me that's screaming is going, shut up, shut up.
It does.
And I just could not believe how I was able to stay up basically in orgasm for what seemed like forever.
Well, you kept leaning back and at the same time pushing into my face because you were sitting on the couch and I was kneeling on the floor. Mm-hmm. And you often arch your back and grab your breasts and your face disappears behind all that for me because I'm down under. But this time you were like pushing back. And there was just somehow the way things were configured, your clitoris felt different.
Wow.
There was a different part of it that was exposed, and I found it, and I stayed with it. And no matter how wriggly you got, I was like, riding a manatee or something. That doesn't sound very sexy, but a dolphin, I don't know. I was just riding those waves and kept going. Kept going.
Well,
kept
I know
screaming.
when you let me go down on you, which again doesn't happen often, I felt so good. It was like, I'm actually making things happen. Woo! And then the time when I bent over the couch, we were dancing and I had my booty pushed up against you and you enjoyed that. And, we pulled out the flogger for a little while and we were playing with the flogger. And then you decided to rub against my booty and rub.
Ride
it dirty.
I don't know. That stuff just let everything...
I don't know. It was awesome because you were riding on my hips and my back end and the sounds coming out of you. That was just mind-blowing. Yeah.
You look kind of mesmerized. I thought, she's just totally bored because here I am grinding away on your hip.
I was not bored.
But you told me you were not bored. You were just like,
I had
whoa.
Thrills running all through my body by how excited that you were just by my hip.
Well, there you go. Sponsored by
Lemon Super Lemon Haze.
Super Lemon Haze.
So we have 2 other strains to try. The other strains we have are Mango Haze and Green Crack, or Green Kush, it's called. So those are the other 2 we have to try. Maybe we'll do another one tonight. See how that goes.
Yeah. Well.
Comparison reviews coming to you soon. But in the meantime, I guess the reason why this conversation is coming up now is because we were inspired because of the vape that you took at the dance in Naughtier, New Orleans. We had a listener come up and offer you to have some, and it was sativa. And we didn't know what strain because we didn't even know strains existed really that much. It opened up your inhibitions, made you that much more receptive to what was going on when we went up to the +1 room.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of being relaxed, receptive, and confident.
Yeah. And that's the feeling that we got from this experience last night, too.
Yeah.
Cool.
Watch out.
Watch out. So we warmed you up with a little bit of sexiness here, and we're going to continue that warmth as we talk about our last night at Naughtier, New Orleans.
Enjoy.
So that brings us up to last night.
The last night.
The last night.
What do we do on the last night?
Well, we talked about it beforehand, and we talked about going to visit the +1 room.
We never really got what it was all about. I mean, I can only speak for myself. I'm like, okay, I don't really know what to do with it, but now we have such a better idea, and you could probably describe it much better than I can, what the +1 room is all about.
Well, the +1 room is intended for singles to be able to hang out so that couples can come if they want to add a +1, if they want to add someone to their dynamic. And specifically this year, the room was hosted by Goodfellas, which their website has some zeros in it, so it's a little bit of a strange link, but I'll put that in the show notes as well if people are interested. But this group of gentlemen, they're asked to come and join in and add a little spice to some events, meaning that they add gentlemen that are courteous and understand the rules of engagement when it comes to playtimes and are willing to facilitate that. So the interesting thing is, because before this, I kind of knew this from last year, and I figured out that that's sort of how it worked, because we had toured it last year, but we didn't stay in there much.
We had gone on like the first day, so
and there was almost nobody in there.
There was like 2 of the gentlemen there, and they said more were coming, and we never went back because we just went off and did other things.
Yeah, I kind of understood the concept of it. So there was something that we read on Reddit ahead of time where people were on the verge of arguing, actually, over how the +1 room worked. Some people believed that it was paid, so they were as escorts, which I do have to admit that last year when I first heard about it, that's what I thought too. And you kind of had the same idea, that they were sort of paid escort services that came out to facilitate people. When we heard about it and learned about it last year, and just through understanding and reading what it was all about, that it's actually sort of like a social gathering of guys. It's guys that have gotten together, have gathered for a specific purpose, that understand what's going on. They're basically people with higher sex drives than normal that are interested in having a lot of fun.
People with a lot of experience, typically, great skills. Some are well endowed.
There's men of all shapes and sizes, predominantly darker skin tone. So some people like that contrast thing, I guess. That's part of it.
Yeah, it's a fantasy for some people. It's
dark with light, but there was also fair. There was one gentleman that was quite fair, so there's different skin tones. They used to be called the Chocolate Club or the Chocolate Room, but that's not so politically correct, and because there's melanin deficient people there too now, that it's not quite the same. So this is what the +1 room is. We felt that it would be good for us to explain this on the podcast so that people aren't going in there, because we had some discussions with one specific gentleman, the one that slept in our room, that
it's completely different to what I thought.
Well, not just that, just some of the not so pleasant interactions that they've had as a result of people thinking that they are there just to service.
Service, yes. So it was...
Because he wasn't complaining at all. It was because we were asking him questions. It's not like he came in complaining.
No.
But what it is, we were asking him, so what's sort of the worst things that have happened and what's some of the best things that have happened? And he basically explained that some people will come in and go, okay, I want you, you, and you. But the gentlemen have to choose back. It is about consent. They have to want to be interested in the people that want to get done.
So it's no different to going to a club or any other event
where there's single men.
Where there's single men present. They're there saying that they're available, but you still have to approach them and ask if they're interested. And if it's mutual, then you can go ahead and have an experience with them. It's not they're lined up.
They're not there to be used.
To be used and picked. And they're not going to say yes to things that they're not interested in. And I have to be honest, after the discussion, I was like, wow, I didn't think they were there specifically to serve the community,
whoever wanted
them, but I just didn't understand how it worked, because the only thing I'd seen is I go in there and they're all lined up against a certain part of the playroom, basically saying they're available. But after discussion with this one gentleman about how it works, we think it's important to describe in more detail what it's meant to be, so people can understand that. And it was even mentioned...
And continue to treat them with respect, the same as you would treat anybody else in a playroom.
Yeah, they're human beings. The gentleman even said that it may even be a good idea to have a meet and greet with the gentleman of Goodfellas or the gentleman of the +1 room, so that you can have a better understanding, that you would have an announcement at the meet and greet to say, this is how the room works, this is who they are, You get a preview of who the people are. You can have a chance to talk to them so that when the event does open up and the playrooms are open at night, you've already met them and you can have a better idea of who you would be interested in because you already talked. And you just know how the room works and you don't come in there with this. As he said, some people come there every night to get done.
Mm-hmm. But the thing I thought was interesting, too, is they're not restricted to the room, which means that if a couple is interested in having them join them in their room, they're permitted to do that, from what I understand. They're just attendees like everybody else.
Right.
They're just not allowed to hover over into the other playrooms. But then again, I think nobody is, really. You can't be opening curtains and staring at people that don't have their curtains open.
They're not pushy or pressuring. They're allowed in all the events and the dances, just like everybody else. If a couple wants to invite them back to their room, it's not an obligation. It's a suggestion or an agreement that, sure.
Negotiation.
Let's continue
What are you into? This is what I'm into. Let's move on.
And for people who want to remain in the +1 playroom, there's a bit of an exhibitionist atmosphere with some of the play spaces.
Well, we chose the corner, so there was a couple spaces that were a little less able for people to peek in.
Yeah, but what I saw going in were some of the spaces that could have been closed with curtains. The curtains were open. The one in particular that I remember was the male of the couple was sitting on the side of the bed and his female partner was being done by one of the +1 gentlemen. So for me, it was obvious that they wanted this to be seen, and it was what I would gather more of this fantasy where the husband was holding his wife's, I'm just going to assume husband and wife just for this example, holding down his wife's head while she was being done from behind, and she was very vocal, and then they kept switching positions, and I was watching this going, I can see how if it is a fantasy and you want something fulfilled and they're both agreeing, then
it's perfect arrangement.
Yeah, you just get in there and you go. For me, it was a little different because we had a discussion the night before and I said, why don't we try the +1 room? Because we've never tried it before. We'll see how it goes. I was going...
It wasn't the night before, actually. It was the morning.
Oh, yeah?
The night before. We were busy with our other friend from the recording. So it was that morning.
Mr. Marine. Ex-Marine.
Yeah. Maybe that fueled the discussion about the +1 room.
Possibly. I was thinking that I would be brave, go down there and not knowing what to expect. Luckily, a listener found us before we went down there and said...
Offered you some of the vape.
Hey, would you like some sativa? And I was like, okay, sure. So that helped my courage. You're there with me, so I'm good. And you kept saying, okay, just breathe. We don't have to do anything. Just relax. Just look around. And I was like, oh my God, there's so many people. Because anybody can hang out in that
Because you're not
room.
an exhibitionist, so it's hard for you. So we chose the corner, and then we chose a gentleman or two to start with. And it was hard for you to get started because they're already on. They've already been in the room. This was late at night. I think this was,
1 o'clock in the morning.
1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So they're already
performing,
ready to go, and you were there, and many women, as you said, come in with this fantasy in their mind, and they are ready to go.
Yeah, because
whereas you still, even though we were dancing and we were being sexy with each other on the dance floor,
sativa was kicking in,
you still had a little bit of a hard time with, okay, go, and it goes straight to it.
Right, but they did ask, so what is it that you're interested in? What do you want to achieve? And so on, and I described as best as I could, and we went into the corner play space and closed up the curtains, and he said okay, and of course he's totally relaxed because this is what he's used to and this is why he's there. And I was like, okay, wow, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but he performed and he was quite talented.
I think that's the interesting part that was a surprise for me, was that, and I don't know why this was a surprise, but that they had skills.
What did you think?
Well,
I'm going to volunteer for the +1 room, but I'm a newbie.
Not a newbie, but
I'm going to get practice this way.
No, but let's face it, many guys, just because they like to have sex doesn't mean they're good at it.
Yeah. So I guess
that's what I'm trying to say, is that the gentleman that you chose that had skills, multiple skills.
Yes.
So it wasn't like they just
he had a repertoire.
One trick pony, as they say. They had different positions that they're willing to move into quickly.
They know what works, so they try different things, and if it doesn't work, they shift to something else. And like, he was like a rabbit. He just went, okay, here we go. And he started going, and he was already up, and he was in, and I'm like, okay, this is quick. And luckily you were there, and I could hold your hand, you kissed me, and you helped me, reminded me to say, okay, just keep breathing, we'll just see how this goes, and relax. And then he switched into another position, and I'm like, whoa, that's interesting. So I started letting go of what's happening, and started paying attention to, as you said, remember, this is just an experience. We're just trying stuff. We'll see how it goes. Even if it doesn't work, at least it was an experience. And I'm like, okay. So then I could start to focus on the fact that he had so many different positions that I've never tried. And
no kidding.
He was
like the one facing away. So he's basically facing your feet on top of you.
I'm on my back. He's on his front. My head is in one direction. His head is in the other direction. And he's just like, boom, boom, boom. And he's in there and he's like pounding away. But even before
I've never seen that.
No.
Have you?
No, I don't know anything. If you don't know it, I don't know it. But even before that, I think that was like position number 4. Because he went in there and then he said, oh, no, I think he said that with you. But it was like this vibrator, and he had this, like, you turn him on high and his hips were just like and I'm like, what the hell? And then he started doing a little harder and slower, and then he put my legs up in the air, and then he put my legs together, and then he bent my knees, and he turned me in a different direction, and he flipped over.
And he asked if you were a squirter, so then he went ahead and did that for you.
Well, you had a little conversation with him when there was a pause.
Yeah, he asked if you were a squirter.
And I couldn't hear anything.
I told him, yes, you were. So then he went ahead to do that with you, because he has skills with his fingers, too.
And I said to him, could you show her how to do this?
And then you wanted to do it on me.
No. When he was doing it on me, I said, can you show her? So then you put your hand in there.
Yeah.
Where he positioned your hand. He says, feel for this thing. And then he took your hand out, and then he went, I don't know what the hell this thing was. And then he did the penetration, and then he used the tip of his penis and kind of rubbed it side to side really quickly, and then
squirting, yeah.
It's so
I don't know what
weird.
He was doing. Yeah.
So then I said, hey, would you want to try that? And you looked at me like,
yeah, I was scared.
And you're not normally scared, right?
But I'm like, what are they going to do? They're going to beat me up.
You were scared about that. I wasn't sure what.
Yeah, I just didn't want to be uncomfortable. It doesn't look comfortable, so I didn't want to get beat up, and I didn't want to have the pressure of, okay, so let's do this, what's wrong with you?
But you agreed, and you said, I'll try it, and I said, I'll be here. And how was it?
Well, yeah, he's really thick, so I'm not used to having things in there, so that was hard. I had to say slow, and you get that feeling all the way into your throat, like... And then it's like, okay, gradually loosens and relaxes. All right, so fine. But then he did the fingers thing and everything you just described.
Yeah, he showed me where your little spot was, and then I watched him.
But then he's doing this motion, and it didn't feel like anything really. And then there's like liquid coming out.
It was like fountains spraying everywhere, all over my face, and like, as I said, all over the windshield, everywhere. And I watched. It was neat to watch because, obviously when it was happening to me, I can't see, but to be able to see this happen, and he takes his penis and just goes side to side like a machine, and all of a sudden...
Is that what he was doing? Because I don't even know what he was doing.
Yeah, he put his finger in and he found the G-spot, and then he basically turned on high power and his wrist went really fast, and then he took his hand out and then he inserted his penis for a few times, and then he took his penis out and then held it and used the end of it to basically whip it back and forth really fast. It looked kind of crazy. Like if you didn't know what was happening, you're like, what is wrong with this man? And he said... And then within seconds, and I don't even think you...
No, I didn't know it was happening, really. It's just like, and I'm like, where's that water coming from? Oh, that's me.
But even before that, when he put his fingers in and he took his hand out and he wiped it on me, on my face. Yeah. And I'm like, what are you doing? He says, I'm just telling you, she's starting to squirt. And
yeah, he did the same thing when you did, too.
And I'm like, okay, because this was like scientific.
Yeah.
And so he did that and stuff flying everywhere. And I was like, whoa, look at you can squirt.
Yeah, I can. So now it's like Paige said from Swinger Diaries.
It's a party trick.
It's a party trick.
But I don't know. Maybe people feel differently when it happens. But for me, I'm like, why do people want to do this? And I know the guys say, oh, it's awesome. And the gentleman we had in our room said people have squirted while he's in them. And it's kind of cool. And I know, there's different versions of how it happens and what it means to people.
But I think if I was to guess, I think what it is men see that as like a successful accomplishment. So for them, it's a huge turn on. Just like other things that you might do in a sexual interaction with someone that are not necessarily for you, they're for them, but you don't mind them. I think it's the same idea. Like my breasts, perfect example. They don't have much, if any, sensation on my nipples. It's just the way I was born. It's just the way I am. But I've been told I have nice breasts, so people want to touch them and they want to do things with them.
Who's told you that?
You?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And so when you are sucking on my nipples or anything like that, it's not for me.
But you watch me enjoy them.
But I like that you're enjoying it. So it's something that I'm fine with because you enjoy it. So I think that's what squirting might be for some people.
Possibly.
Where it's not necessarily, it's not really something that's for me per se. But if someone is really enjoying it, fine, go ahead. If that'll turn your crank.
Then go ahead. Now, the previous experience, well, not the previous because I was at Temptation and that was a lot of fun, but it still feels like childbirth in some senses for me. The one that we spoke about on another episode where the guy at Oasis and he was very rough. So that was the first time I squirted and it hurt because he was so rough. And it happened and it was successful in the fact that it was shooting across the room as opposed to just spraying. So I was kind of concerned that it was going to be another episode of uncomfortable. The episodes that happened at Temptation were less uncomfortable as the first one. And then this one, there was no pain. There was no cramping. It was just something that happened. So for the women who have that happen without any discomfort, I guess, as Paige says, it's a party trick. But I'm kind of feeling in awe, and I'm just happy that you said you couldn't, and it happened. So I've been waiting for you, and I couldn't do it because I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I was just certain you could.
Well, this giddiness that you have, when we recorded about me seeing you do it for the first time, and I'm like, oh yeah, it was so fucking awesome. This is what that giddiness is.
Yeah.
This is probably what the guys feel.
It's like show and tell. Look what I did.
Yeah, look what I can do.
Yeah, so I don't know what it's all about. I don't get it fully, but I just kind of feel sassified.
And so then the next gentleman that came in was, can we call him the name that his nickname is? Or is that too identifying? Because it's not his real name.
No, I think it's okay.
Okay, so the guys know him as Mammoth. And he is mammoth in all ways of the word. He's very tall. He's a fridge.
A door. He's got huge hands. He's tall. He's thick. And then the shorts came off. And I was like...
Yep, that's Mammoth.
Whoa. It's just hanging there almost down to his knees. Yeah. And I was like, okay. And I wasn't afraid. I was curious. I was like, okay, because this is probably the biggest that I can recall.
Probably, yeah. And he was kind of cool. He was, at one point, as he was doing you from behind, and your head was down in the mattress, I reached over and pulled your hair. And you reacted. You liked it. So he's like, oh, so this is your little sub. And I'm like, okay. I said, no. Because we've never played with domination, submission stuff. So I'm like, no, we don't play that way, but she does like it to be rough from time to time. And he's like, oh, okay. So
then he put his hand on my head and pushed it down into the bed. And I was like, oh.
Yes, you like that.
Meanwhile, he's Mammoth. And so I'm receiving the Mammoth. That sounds very biblical.
Maybe
anyway, yes, it was a religious experience. he responded really well to you saying, oh, she likes it a little bit rough at certain times and had my hair pulled or
So
whatever.
he pushed your head down, and then he grabbed your wrists and held your wrists down.
I was like, oh, because he's so big, I'm thinking, okay, sure, I surrender. Whatever you want to
That's
do.
what you need. You need that.
And then another position, he went under my arm and then over my head and pushed.
Yeah, he was still from behind you, but yeah,
Yes.
that's what he did.
And
It was mind-blowing.
I don't know what that is. I guess that's the kinky in me, right, that I'm learning about from my sexual blueprint.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of kinky in me, not much, but...
Well, you like the masculine energy. You like that part where they take charge.
And they
But
don't...
respectfully.
Yeah, and you said that. I think I heard that.
Oh, he said something else. I don't remember what. And I said, yeah, she likes respectful control.
And I
And
heard
he's
him
like,
say,
he's like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, so you said he was a really great guy.
Yeah, he seemed like a really nice guy. It's just he had a good spirit about him. Like he was really into making this a good experience for you.
Yeah, I got that sense that he was definitely a facilitator.
Yeah.
And he was having conversation with you. I don't know
No, you
what
said-
the hell he was saying. It was like I heard words, but they were all jumbled in an order that didn't make sense.
English was no longer your first language.
I heard it was an English word, but I had no idea what it all was put together. But you were having a nice conversation.
I think it wasn't a full conversation. It was just chatting here and there about what you like. While he's doing you.
Yes.
And I think part of it is he's probably used to the hot wife dynamic. He's probably used to stag and vixen, where he is basically, if anything, the wife is having her mind blown out, like you were, like you just can't function. And the husband is giving indication as to what the wife actually likes because she can't speak. So I think he's probably used to that.
Yeah.
Because that's what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had interesting rhythm. Like it was a variety.
Oh, okay.
Of speeds and frequency and positions, and he was confident what he was doing. He moved me to this position, and he would pump a few times and then drive it home and do that intermittently, and I'd be like, you don't know when it's coming, so every so often he would just drive it home. It was a weird feeling. Not bad weird, but it was this total... How do I describe it? I guess that is where some people like the Dom-sub dynamic.
I think maybe that's what they call subspace, maybe?
I don't know. It's not something that I'm experienced with because most guys are not as dominant as he was. But such a gentle giant, just doing his job well. And I just felt totally... I can't think of the word. Like, I gave up. Surrender?
Surrender. Yeah,
surrender.
That would be accurate.
Okay. Just total surrender. I'm not going to give any direction. I'm not going to make any suggestions. I'm just there. That was new.
Cool. And then we were sitting on the bed.
Well, people were peeking in.
Well, the different guys, the different gentlemen that were working the room kept peeking in. It's like some asked if they could come in and just wasn't what you were choosing. And then the last guy came in.
Did he come in or he just kind of looked through?
Well, he peeked through.
I think I saw him through the curtain and I'm like, hey! Because he didn't open the curtain. That's how respectful he was.
Oh,
He was just standing there, and I looked up, and meanwhile, here...
No, I think what you said is, hey, I haven't seen you before.
Yeah.
Because he's cute.
But to give a description of what we looked like, we were on this bed in the corner. I was wearing thigh-high boots, and a masquerade mask was still on. Everything else was off.
Yeah, because this is Mardi Gras night, so we had masks.
My 5-inch heel thigh-high boots with lace up the side.
Yeah, you kept your boots on.
You were wearing your 8-inch heels. I think you took your mask off, but you're naked with your 8-inch heels that would strap you all the way up your legs. So he comes up, and I'm like, hey, because now
you're on.
Now that I've been warmed up, 2 hours later, I said, I haven't seen you before.
It wasn't 2 hours, but yeah, close.
He came in and...
offered himself.
That he was available.
Yeah.
And I said, so what's your party trick? And
he basically dropped his pants.
And I went, I have a dildo that looks just like that. And this is much better because it has a person attached to it, so I don't have to do anything.
Well, it's not you don't have to do anything. It's that it actually is warm and...
It comes attached to the machine.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't have to work it. He put his cock ring on.
Yeah, and he had a really more of a seductive...
energy.
Passionate, there's another word I'm looking for. Sensual energy.
Which is matching with how I play.
How we play, yeah, it is.
Well, you're more kind of energetic, and yes, how we play is very sensual.
Yeah, so when he came in and proceeded to get involved with us, the thing I noticed about that is that although it didn't happen right at the beginning, he was open to kissing where the others weren't.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And not that they weren't open to it, but you didn't ask for it, so they didn't offer. Whereas the two of you, it was like almost like it just drew to each other. It wasn't a thought so much, it was just, it made sense.
Mm-hmm.
But this was like right near the end of the night, so he still did a really great job of...
This was after 3 then?
Yeah, it was after 3 because the playroom closes at 3:30.
Was 2 hours.
Okay, so we were with him, and then it was very passionate and very amazing and awesome. Then the lights are going on, and they're tearing down curtains, and they're basically shutting the place down because it's the last night. Later, we found out that he was back in the room. He had been out of the room. He wasn't there. Like, whether he was at the party or whether he was back in his own room, I don't know. But he said that he had to come back to help with the teardown. So he showed up to help with the teardown.
And just kind of peeked into
and
all
just happened to see us there. And he had seen us before on the dances, like at the bar takeovers dancing. And he was somewhat interested in us, but just assumed perhaps that we were only into women because we were just dancing with each other. And so it was neat to see us there. And so he was definitely a willing partner to join in. But it got shortened by the fact that...
It was closing.
It was closing. Like, by the time that we just sort of stopped, the teardown was happening all around us. By the time we got our clothes down, there was no curtains. Everything was almost back down to being a conference room.
By the time we got our clothes on.
By the time we got our clothes on, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But he had said, hey, you guys got Kik? And so we connected with Kik IDs.
Mm-hmm.
I showed him how you scan the Kik thing. People don't know that exists. Those of you who don't know and you use Kik, if you go onto the scan a code, you can actually just scan someone's code and find their profile right there. It's really cool, actually. And so we connected on Kik. He sent a message almost immediately after we left saying, hey, if you get a second wind, let me know.
Let me know. Now, this was so close to the end of the time that the playroom was open that by the time our clothes were on and we walked to the door and looked back, all the playroom scaffolding was down.
Mm-hmm.
While we were putting on our clothes, there was probably like 10, 15 guys in there, and the one guy was like, you don't need to get dressed.
And some of them are like, why'd you guys wait till the last day to come to the +1 room?
And I'm like, this is the way we close things out. But I think they were trying to say that they would have enjoyed us being there earlier.
Well, because at this point, they're all back there to do the teardown. And so we're seeing everybody.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of them in the room at that point.
Yeah, and as you said, they don't have to stay in the room. They can come when they have a assigned time, or they can just come in and check out what's happening. And if nothing's suiting, then they can leave. So we got back to the room and showered and...
Well, we ran downstairs to get our stuff from the booth.
To clean up.
To clean up the booth stuff.
But we got back to the room and we discussed it, and you said, what do you want to do about this? Do you want to invite him over? And I was like, I don't know. I said, I had a pretty good time downstairs. I'm feeling good. And then you...
said, well, how often do you get the chance like this?
Different perspective. You said, we have the opportunity and somebody is interested, and how often does this happen? So why not? And I said, okay, I'll leave it to you. And we sent him a message and said, yep, sure, sounds great.
We're just jumping in the shower.
And if you're still interested, then let us know. And he answered and said, yep. And he came up.
And here we are again telling you about OnlyFans. I know we're saying it every episode, but that's because we're having so much fun over there. We are loving posting pictures that are the behind the scenes. We want you to see what it is that we're doing. We know you want to see us just to see who we are and are we sexy, maybe?
I don't know. We're having fun.
We're having fun. But anyway, I think our sexy adventures are worthy of a visual experience as well. So that's why we've decided to put together the OnlyFans. We want everybody over there. If you are a listener, we want you to head over there. We know it's a little bit complicated to join because you do actually have to verify your profile and stuff, including a payment method, even though you are just subscribing to a free page. We get that. But we promise you, there's plenty of material for you to see that is free of charge, just to follow us. And then, of course, if you want to help to donate any amount based on wanting to support our podcast, you can just tip on any post that you like, or you can just interact with us. Honestly, hearing from you really makes our day.
Yeah, we've had some great conversations so far with some people there that have introduced themselves, and it's very open to be able to connect in a way that is a little different to the other social media for some reason.
For some reason, people are more open over there. They're willing to actually chat with us. I think they think on Twitter or Instagram we might not be as open to conversation of some random person, but on OnlyFans, we know that they specifically followed us over there. So it's like there's this open door where we can now talk to them and they are willing to talk to us.
Yeah,
so
I think
really
if I was to compare it, it would be like Twitter is more like we're all at a party together. Should we go over there and talk to them? But there's so many people. Whereas OnlyFans is like, hey, come into our suite.
Oh, yeah.
And let's sit and chat.
We can call it our OnlyFans suite.
There you go.
So anyway, onlyfans.com/torridsouls. Come on over and join us there and see the insider behind the scenes. And if you want to see the sexier stuff, we are posting a few things here and there that are not what we would post for the public, but it's available for those who want to see our sexier side.
Yeah, when the lighting is right, we take a picture and we post it over there.
And some video.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what we're doing.
We love it when we get feedback. We want you to send us emails and interact with us on Instagram and Twitter, and especially on OnlyFans. Let us know what you think. When you hear an episode, if something stands out for you, tell us. Please, please tell us. It's just us two lonely girls sitting in front of two microphones.
Two naked, lonely girls.
Well, right now we're in lingerie, but
sitting in front of a microphone, not knowing.
If you're out there,
or not.
We want to know that you're out there. We want to know that you hear us. We want to know that we've helped you in some way. We want to know that we turned you on. We want to know. We want to know. We want to know.
Yeah, we want to know. So from Mixed Sack Couple 916
on
Instagram. Just heard this episode, which is episode 28. Soldier Boy in Austin, Texas.
My birthday sex.
Birthday sex, yeah. Makes me extremely envious of Soldier Boy. I have the same feelings as Tori. I enjoy watching my lady play with someone else, hearing her moan from the things her lover is doing to her as I watch. Definitely takes me to another level. I'm loving the recap format you ladies are doing. Amazingly awesome job. Thank you, Mixed Sack Couple 916.
We know who you are, too.
We sent him a message and said, yep, sure, sounds great.
We're just jumping in the shower.
And if you're still interested, then let us know. And he answered and said, yep. And he came up.
With his bag already packed for the plane.
Because he had 3 hours before the flight was. And he said, yeah, I'll have everything packed. It was very easy to start again.
Yeah, it was.
Like, because we're in the room and it's self-contained and there was a moment in the playroom where somebody was having a discussion and I said to you, could you go ask that lady to stop speaking because it's disturbing me? And you said, we can't do that. And I said, okay, well, apparently my session is interrupting her conversation. But he mentioned that as well. He says, yeah, sometimes there's conversations and it's very distracting for him. So he really likes the
more quiet,
self-contained play space. And we had music on and lights. It just became...
like the nice lights, the dim, changing color, nice lights, not
the bright, ugly lights.
Bright, ugly hotel lights. So we had a really nice time. What would you say is highlight with him?
I like how he's calm and respectful and interested in having a good time, but not his good time. He wants it to be a good time
mutual
for all of us. it didn't matter what was going on. Everything was like okay and fine, and he just shifted to whatever was next. He just freaking stamina.
Mm-hmm.
Holy.
It was a beautiful penis.
What?
It was just so nicely. Did you see me using my hands? I'm just like running my hands on it. It's just really nicely shaped.
A beautiful penis.
Yes.
Okay. This is new.
Never heard me say that before, have you?
No, so it must be awesome. It was well proportioned.
Mm-hmm.
Had a good helmet.
Yep.
And shaft
And
that matched. He was very skilled in whatever he did.
everything and anything.
Speed, pressure.
We would change speeds, different pressures, yeah.
He would take cues from me when I was holding his butt. He responded right away, whether it was faster or slower or stop. And then he let me move my body in whatever way I felt that it felt good for me. And then he would start again. And then that went a few times. And
Yeah, I noticed that. You guys had a good flow.
yeah.
And as beautiful as the penis was, although we gave it some time inside of me, my cervix and my uterus feel a little beat up, but
You enjoyed yourself.
I enjoyed myself. It's just, yeah, I'm not built the same way you are.
But you enjoyed.
But he was good because he did the first time and I said, whoa, too deep. He's like, oh, so sorry, I got carried away.
Yeah.
And then the next time we tried it again, I noticed that he was letting me do the motion.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, there was a
he
few-
was behind me and I was pushing back against him and he was for the most part holding still.
Yeah.
So that I could determine the depth. I'm like, that's clever. That's good.
Yeah, he's very responsive and very aware of everything. There were times where he, as you said, let me lead and he enjoyed it. He's a little bit of a talker, which is not bad because what he was saying was very encouraging and it wasn't a lot. He would just
Yeah, we called it the cheerleader.
yeah, he would, every so often, he would say, there you go, okay, yeah. And then he had, from the first second that he connected with us, he'd kiss and he'd just go,
Yeah.
And
The
he would
moans.
do that, and he's like, wow, he's enjoying this. And he just kept saying, okay, there you go. All right, squeeze it out. Go, girl, let it out. But he was whispering it
Mm-hmm.
at the right moments. And I found that great. It wasn't distracting.
Soul liked a talker.
Well, I wouldn't consider him a talker. He's just kind of like background sounds more than anything else. He did say a few words, but it was just very soft and appropriately timed. The ones that I've mentioned that I don't like, it's, oh yeah, baby, tell me that feels good. Does this feel good? Do you want this? And tell me you want me. And I don't want to answer any questions.
Well, because the words just jumble together and you don't.
Yeah, so he wasn't asking me anything. He was just encouraging and saying, yeah, that's nice. Okay, there you go. Ah, there you go. Uh-huh.
Yeah, he did a lot.
Yeah, so that was awesome because honestly, after the night before, I was like, how are you going to top this?
Yeah.
We're spoiled for everybody else.
Yeah, this was a good 2 nights.
Yeah, because I was like, how is anybody going to match this? And guess what?
Mm-hmm.
Freaking got better.
I don't know if it was better. It was different.
No, I'm not saying better as in I'm going to choose one over the other, but it's like, that was amazing.
I would say equal in the sense that they were both freaking amazing and both experiences.
Yeah, and I didn't mean better as in I'm going to choose one over the other. It's just, I couldn't imagine what else there could be.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. And then there was something else. And I was like, wow, this is just... It just kept going on and on. Because when you said, do you want him to come up? I'm like, yeah, but it's just going to go on and on and on. Because it all just feels so freaking
Yeah, but that's the way you are, though. You go on and on and on. And that's how I convinced you. Well, it didn't take much convincing, but that's how I convinced you to have him come up, was because of the fact that you do go on and on and on, and we have the opportunity of someone who can go on and on and on, has stamina, because that's one of the tricky things in finding play partners are the one and done, or they just get their thrills and they're done, and you're just barely getting started.
Yeah, there have been a couple or so that they had trouble keeping it up, and then when finally they got it up, they were more interested in
Getting off.
and then as soon as they did, they were done. Okay, that was great, bye. Whereas the ones that we prefer either
It creates
don't
a
finish.
session is the word you like.
Yeah, they don't finish and it doesn't matter to them because they're enjoying the process. Or if they do finish, they stay and just stay in the space and still bodies touching, and then eventually ends up in a conversation
And then round 2.
and then it moves on to another one. And so that's what we like.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, it was kind of a tag team because there were 1, 2, 3. He was number 4.
So you had your own little gangbang, baby.
Well, serial.
Serial banging?
Yeah, it's like, okay, you can take me to that level.
It's not a gang, it's a line-up bang.
It's line dancing.
Line banging.
So by the time he was around, he's number 4, and he ended well.
Yeah, well, we kept going and we chatted, and that's how we ended up finding out a bunch of information about the whole +1 club and everything. We knew that he had some time anyway, so I wasn't sure if things were going to happen again. And then you went and wrapped your legs around. He was sitting on the edge of the bed, and you went and wrapped your legs around him, put your breasts on his back.
Yeah, I was just being nice.
Oh, yeah, you were being nice.
But it turned you on so much that it started again.
Him too.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't seeing anything. Obviously, you saw something happening, and then that turned you on, and then you started, and I'm like, okay, honestly, I did not realize that what I was doing was causing this new session to start.
Oh, that was what you were doing.
I did not. I was just...
You put your breasts on his back and you
it
wrapped your
felt good.
arms around him.
And I rubbed my breast on his back, and I was kissing the back of his neck.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not going to start anything.
I didn't say it wouldn't start, but I didn't realize that me just enjoying myself, and then he was rubbing my legs. Next thing I see is like flames shooting out of you.
I grabbed the lube and grabbed his beautiful penis.
Handle.
And was running my hands up and down and doing my hand tricks. And I don't know.
Poof! It disappears.
Well, you said flames shooting out of me, so that sounds pretty tricky. And I actually thought that was kind of cool. And in some senses, I think it was interesting because this was sort of the end of his 4 days before he flew back home. So he had 4 days of, I'm sure, had lots of pleasure and stuff himself, but they
Focused
are
on
a lot of giving. It's a lot of giving because women come in wanting to get done. And so this was kind of neat that he was basically leaning back on you with your breasts on his back, and that I was using my hands on him. And
I was rubbing his chest, and he was just...
And he was just
totally
receiving. He was totally receiving it. And I'm like, this is nice. Because some guys can't do that. They can't.
They're done and they're... Okay,
yeah,
thanks.
or they're just dead fish in the first place and they only receive, right?
Yeah.
But to actually, it's almost like, okay, I've done a lot of giving and here I am. I'm going to just take this in.
I think the best part was that Mr. Man there was ready again. Swing!
Yeah.
Whereas some guys, after the play session, totally understandable, not a judgment. It's a lot of work and sweating and hip action, and you're spent, so it's done. Your little friend there is sleeping. Whereas him, he's like, hello, here at attention, again.
Ready again.
After 4 days and 2-3 hours with us. 4 hours?
I don't know.
I don't know. A long time. And here he was ready to go again. So it was kind of a cool experience because I'm holding him, he's laying on me, you're, doing your hand tricks. And that ended up becoming like a really...
Because then he got up and put a condom on, and then he was on top of you, but you had me lay right next to you. So that was neat.
See, I was choreographing things, and you were like, "What do you want? Where do you want me to go?"
I just didn't understand.
You didn't understand where you wanted because I don't have words.
Yeah, so you're just like and pointing at
and
things,
pulling and turning it without words. But I put you to lay beside me on your back, and I was on my back, and our shoulders were touching.
And you put your hand down yonder,
down under, and as he was on top of me, I had my hand on you, and it became...
And all of our faces were like within inches of each other. That was really cool. So he's busy doing you, looking at you into the eye, looking deep into your eyes, looking into my eyes, back and forth, kissing you. I don't think I was close enough to be able to kiss, but we're close. Like, we're all there, although we did plenty of three-way kisses, which is like divine. Yeah, so he was like really close there. And I had already worked him up a fair bit with my hands. So
We were ready to go.
And
it synchronized well.
yeah, I think all three of us
had
some screaming at the same time.
simultaneous orgasm.
Yeah.
And that is rare.
I don't think we've ever done that with anybody.
No, we've had it with each other.
Yeah.
We may have come close with some people, maybe Batman.
Yeah.
I remember.
Mm-hmm.
But to have that happen was a rarity that was well
It was like the
received.
perfect cherry on the top.
Of the Sunday. And it was a
Sunday.
Yeah, it was a Sunday.
Yeah.
Yes, he enjoyed that because a few expletives came out of his mouth.
Yes.
Which before that he was just calm, cool, and yeah, okay, and you're doing it and let go, and yeah, there you go.
But then it was
and
his
then
turn.
it was like, fuck.
Yeah, then it was his turn. Yeah, that was hot. I think that's what fed you and I too.
Because
it was
that pile of energy
yeah.
was awesome. And he wants to keep in touch. Not surprising. And we would keep in touch with him.
Yeah, because when we match that well with someone, that's cool.
Yeah.
So when we're in his state,
And-
we have a lot of freaking traveling to do every so often. We're like, we're in that state, and we're in that state. So I think that was a really great climax to Naughtier New Orleans 2019.
I think so.
Triple climax.
Synchronized. Triple climax ending. Bam! Drop the mic.
Peace out.
Yes, his piece was out. It's... How do I say this? We have a connection. Sexual, energetic, romantic, and we feel it between each other.
Mm-hmm.
People have commented to us that they see it when they meet us, or when they see us across the room engaging on the dance floor. And he commented on that. Like, he's not ever been with...
A same-sex female couple.
No.
He's been with two women, but just not ones that were a couple.
Right. And so we've had people comment about that energy that we share between each other, and we include who's in our play session in that energy.
Mm-hmm.
He's somebody else that has said the same thing. It's like, wow, this is like nothing I've ever experienced in my entire life. And he has lots of experiences. And it's kind of a nice compliment. It feels good because we know it feels good between us. But the fact that we include people, and then when the session is over, they feel connected and not like...
This goes back to what we talked about in Sacred Sex panel. It's that connecting of the energy that we share. So when you find some people that you are on the same wavelength, there's like a connection there.
Yeah, because adding somebody, for us in particular, is one person. But when you're a couple and you're adding other people, there's 4 different personalities and agendas and styles. Sometimes 2 of the 4 match up well, and it's rare that all 4 will match up. But we're adding one person to us, and because we're so connected, we want that to be the main focus, and then having this third person add something to what we already have together. But it's not like we're here enjoying ourselves and using them to make our session better. We include them in our activity wholeheartedly, and that enhances what we have. So when they're finished having this time with us, for them to say, you know what, this has been so amazing, and the energy and the connection, and I've never felt anything like this before. It feels good to us because that's what we're intending.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not you're here to provide us with something separate. It's you're adding to our moment. And for them to feel that enough to say it, and we've had it said to us several times, that's kind of a lovely ending.
I completely agree.
Naughty in New Orleans, NIN2019 was a success.
It was.
Fun and pleasure and learning.
Amazing people. Absolutely amazing people.
So is this going to be somewhere we come back again?
I think we're booking for next year.
because it keeps getting
better.
And we love the heat. We love that it's in July and it's super hot and sunny, and the activities that are planned are getting better every year.
Yeah, and we need to sign off this recording because we have a dinner to get to, which is the post-convention dinner this evening at 6 o'clock.
Oh.
So we gotta go.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for listening, and we're out of here.
As for traveling this year, we're still here, still fingers crossed, still hopeful that we will be going to PCAP, Podcastapalooza. It looks like we're driving down based on the fact that the flights are really tricky from Canada, but we are excited about it.
You are excited about it.
Well, you're excited about it, too.
I'm excited about getting there, but the process to get there is a long drive. It's freaking 24 hours of driving.
Plus, we're trying to stay away from people as much as possible, and we can be there and be as social distance as we can and as safe as we can.
Yeah, we're warrior goddesses. Da-da-da-da. We're heading there.
So Podcastapalooza is May 21st, a 4-day, 3-night hotel takeover, complete with topless pool parties, wild theme parties, seminars. The themes are including red carpet music awards and a desert rock festival. I guess it's supposed to be like...
Coachella?
Yeah, Coachella and the sexier
Burning
side
Man.
of Burning Man, yes. We've got some fun outfits that we're putting together for that.
Down the rabbit hole is the other one, isn't there? Is the third night?
Yeah, down the rabbit hole. That one's can be tricky too, but we've got some ideas.
There's lots of things, different angles you could come from with that one.
Yeah, we've been posting some things on Twitter, like down the rabbit hole, people could go with the Queen of Hearts. They could go with any of the cards. They could go with any bunny or any cat, like Cheshire Cat or otherwise. It could be a Playboy bunny for that matter.
There's Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Yes. Well, we want the sexier characters if possible. At Podcastapalooza, we are presenting a seminar called Amp Up Your Pleasure with Erotic Passion Play. We did do a read-through of the description on our last episode, but just to recap it, we're going to be guiding people through a hands-on play shop to learn how your own and your consensual partner's body responses reveal your erotic blueprint. Learn how to heighten your desire for one another and increase your satisfaction in your play sessions. Now, everybody's going to be clothed, and activities don't take anyone beyond their own comfort zone. But anybody can take a quiz ahead of time in case you're curious, even if you're not coming to PCAP. torridsouls.com/blueprint. We talked about this in our episode from Valentine's in Niagara. We did a little seminar then. It's actually our episode 21 where we go through the theory behind this in a seminar that we did. You may want to go take a listen to that because even if you can't attend, that gives you the basics of it. But if you can attend, this is leveling up. This is the hands-on fun of erotic blueprints. So if we're piquing your interest and you can still make it, go ahead and follow our link, torridsouls.com/PCAP. There is a slight affiliate commission that will come to us to help to support our podcast. Plus, we get to meet you. That's the exciting part. Now, of course, there's Naughtier New Orleans 2021. We will be going to that. Fingers crossed in August 4th to the 8th. Please consider using our link, torridsouls.com/NIN, which stands for Naughtier New Orleans. Using our links doesn't cost you anything, and a small percentage does go to supporting our podcast. We would love to meet you, and Naughtier New Orleans is an amazing event to meet people. You get to party together, have dinners together, have breakfast together for that matter at Café Beignet. We've met people in the mornings.
Wander the streets together, drink in hand.
And if these past 2 episodes haven't convinced you to go, I'm not sure what will. It is one of the most amazing things we have ever experienced. And we keep going back, which is not like us to repeat things over and over again.
No. But, we have our list of repeat worthy.
Yes. And there is also, yes, the people. Yes. Okay.
Yes. So
when we find something that's damn good, we
repeat it. So NIN is on the repeat worthy list.
It's on the damn good list. Yeah. And there's the podcast meetup that they do just about every year as well. So there will be times for people to come out specifically to meet the podcasters. Without rambling too much, we also have the Bliss Cruise in November. That looks like it's going to be a go because the vaccines will be fully rolled out for everyone by that point. There's likely going to be different protocol on a ship of that size, and they may not be taking it full to capacity. I don't really know the specifics. However, if you are interested, check out our link, torridsouls.com/bliss, to see if it's something that you're interested in. You might want to join us in November this year, 2021. Now, one event that we're not, unfortunately, able to commit to is Sexploration, which is what Richard and Lauren are doing in Antigua, July 11th to the 18th. However, if this piques your interest, please go and book. It looks like it is the trip of a lifetime. They know what Desire is all about. They worked there for many years putting on workshops. They didn't work directly for Desire, but they worked on the resort. So they get it, what it takes to run a great event. Clothing optional, parties on the beach, great DJs. They even have yacht and island excursions, things that are above and beyond. And of course, their famous Art of Touch workshops. So if you have listened to their podcast, if you haven't, you need to go because they're freaking hilarious. You need to listen to Room 77. And if you want to go on this trip, we've also made an easy link for you, even though we're not officially affiliates. We just want to help them out. torridsouls.com/sexploration. SEXPLORATION. In the next episode, we have something coming up called Ladies of the Lifestyle. This was a recording that we did as a group at Naughtier New Orleans 2019, which is why it makes sense to put this in here. There were four podcasts that were involved in this. There was Swinger Diaries, Two or More to Tango, and the organizers, Angie and Jay from Average Swingers, as well as Ray and Dee from Euphoria Chronicles. Now, of course, it was all the women, because it was the ladies of the lifestyle participating in this discussion group. Some pretty serious conversations, but there's lots of laughter too. And it was broken into episodes that were released on 3 separate podcasts. We have asked permission if we could post their complete episodes as one of ours. We think the information that we discussed during these 3 episodes is very valuable to the women of the lifestyle, or the ladies of the lifestyle, and we think it's worthwhile playing again. It was all aired back in 2019, so it's been a couple years. Even if you did hear it, I'm sure you'll hear something new if you listen to it all over again. So it may not have the same sexy flair. This one's more cerebral. So stay tuned. That's the episode that is coming up next. So thank you for listening to our take on the world within and around the lifestyle. We truly hope that you can learn something from us and, of course, be entertained at the same time. Now, we do look forward to connecting with you. We would love your feedback. We would like to know what you liked, what you would want more of, what you would like us to cover in future episodes, perhaps.
What you want us to go out and try.
I don't know. Are you looking for dares?
Somewhat, yeah.
Ah, okay. So I guess we're looking for dares. You can reach out to us. If you take a look at our website, that gives all the ways to contact us. It's torridsouls.com. That's TORRIDSOULS.com. And that will give you a link for email, or also you can leave us a voicemail. We have both through your computer or your device as well as a cell phone. You can call the number that we have there. Leave us a voicemail. We want to include some clips in upcoming episodes of your voices, your sexy voices, with either questions or comments or whatever you want to tell us. We would love to include it. And on Twitter, you can find us at Torrid Souls. We keep it simple. It's all Torrid Souls.
Torrid Souls, Torrid Souls,
Torrid
Torrid
Souls,
Souls,
Torrid
Torrid Souls.
I'm Tori.
And I'm Soul.
And together,
we are Torrid Souls.